The humans never expected to be ambushed. Not during peace talks. Ambassador June stood tall despite her small frame. The bright lights of Proxima Station's Grand Hall reflected off her formal blue uniform. Around her sat representatives from 27 alien civilizations. Most towered over humans. Some had too many limbs to count. Others barely looked solid at all. "The United Earth demands respect," June said, her voice steady. "For 3 years, hegemony ships have crossed our borders. They have taken our resources. They have killed our colonists. We came here for peace, not more empty promises." The Hegemony Council leader, a massive 6-armed creature covered in purple scales, leaned forward. His translator device clicked before he spoke. "Humans are new to space. You do not understand galactic politics. Your demands show your immaturity." June felt her face grow hot, but she maintained her diplomatic smile. Beside her, her aide Han tapped notes into his tablet. They had expected this response. It was the same one they always got. "We understand perfectly," June replied. "The hegemony treats humans as lesser beings because our technology developed differently. But we have starships. We have colonies. We deserve equal standing." Murmurs filled the hall. Some representatives nodded. Most looked bored. After 50 years of contact with alien species, humans still weren't taken seriously. Earth had joined galactic society later than most. Their ships were slower. Their weapons were weaker. At least, that's what the hegemony believed. The council leader made a dismissive gesture with his upper arms. "This discussion is pointless. The council has decided. Humanity will accept protectorate status under the hegemony. We will station ships in your system for your protection. Your resources will support the greater good of all species." June's eyes narrowed. "That's not protection. That's an occupation." "It is what it is," the leader replied coldly. "You have 1 Earth month to prepare. After that, we arrive with or without your consent." Around the room, other species watched silently. None spoke in humanity's defense. The few allies humans had made over the decades were too afraid of the hegemony's power. June looked at Han, who gave her a slight nod. They had discussed this possibility. She tapped her communication badge. "The United Earth rejects your terms," she announced. "We withdraw from these talks. Any military action against our worlds will be considered an act of war." Laughter rippled through the hall. A small insect-like delegate chittered loudly. "What war could humans possibly wage? Your ships are toys compared to ours." June didn't respond to the taunt. She simply gathered her materials and nodded to her team. "This meeting is over. We return to Earth immediately." The human delegation left the hall with dignity. June maintained her calm until they reached their ship, the diplomatic envoy. When the doors closed behind them, did she allow herself to show anger. They never intended to negotiate, she told her crew. "Prepare for immediate departure." Captain Sue nodded from his command chair. "The engines are already warming up. The other 3 human ships are doing the same." June took her seat as the ship detached from Proxima Station. Through the view screen, she could see the massive structure slowly receding. Thousands of ships surrounded it, representatives from hundreds of worlds. Han approached her quietly. "Do you think they'll really attack Earth?" "They've been planning it for years," June replied. "This was just their formal announcement." The ship's warning system suddenly blared to life. Captain Sue shouted orders as the tactical display lit up with red dots, multiple vessels approaching, weapon signatures detected. June wasn't surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised. "Evasive maneuvers, get us out of here." The diplomatic envoy shuddered as it accelerated away from the station. Behind them, the other 3 human ships tried to follow. On the screen, June watched in horror as energy beams lanced out from unmarked vessels. One human ship exploded immediately. Another lost its engines and began to drift. "They're jamming communications," reported the communications officer. "We can't warn the other ship." June watched helplessly as the 3rd human vessel was surrounded and disabled. Her hands gripped the armrests of her chair as Captain Sue executed a desperate series of maneuvers. "We can't outrun them," he said grimly. "Not all of them." We don't need to outrun all of them, June replied. She reached into her jacket and removed a small device. We just need to get far enough to activate this. She pressed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship lurched violently as a wormhole opened directly in front of them. It wasn't supposed to be possible this close to the station. Go, June ordered. Captain Sue didn't hesitate. The diplomatic envoy plunged into the swirling vortex just as enemy weapons fire scorched their rear shields. When they emerged, they were alone in empty space, far from Proxima Station. Report, June demanded. We're in the Tau Ceti system, Sue replied, sounding shocked. That's impossible. We couldn't have jumped this far. June's expression was grim. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to tell them what happened. What about the others? Han asked quietly. June looked at the empty space where their fellow ships should have been. They knew the risks. Now we have the proof we needed. The hegemony just declared war on humanity. She didn't tell them the rest. She didn't tell them that everything was going according to plan. The diplomatic envoy emerged from the wormhole jump with minor damage. All communications remained silent as the ship approached Earth's defense perimeter. No one spoke of the 3 vessels lost at Proxima Station. When they finally reached Earth orbit, Ambassador June looked down at the blue planet with mixed feelings. She had just witnessed the deaths of dozens of colleagues, yet part of her felt a grim satisfaction. The B hegemony had finally shown its true face. Open a secure channel to Space Command, June ordered. Authorization code Prometheus. Captain Sue gave her a surprised look. Few civilians knew military authorization codes, but he followed her instructions without question. On the main screen, General Sung's stern face appeared. His gray hair was cut short in military style. The lines around his eyes deepened when he saw June. Ambassador, he said quietly, I see only one ship returning. The others were destroyed in an ambush, June replied. The peace talks failed. The hegemony has given us 1 month before they come to protect us. General Sung nodded slowly. Then it's time. For 5 decades, humanity had appeared weak to alien eyes. Their ships were outdated. Their weapons were simple. Their technology seemed primitive compared to species who had traveled among stars for thousands of years. It was all a lie. 2 hours later, June stood in a massive underground chamber beneath the Himalayas. Around a circular table sat the 12 members of Earth's Security Council. The room was secure against any known form of surveillance. Show them, General Sung said. Dr. Minji, a small woman with round glasses, activated a holographic display. It showed the solar system, then zoomed out to reveal hundreds of hidden facilities throughout Earth's territory. Project Prometheus has been active since first contact, Dr. Minji explained. When we realized how the galactic community viewed less advanced species, we made a decision. We would appear weaker than we are. The display shifted to show massive shipyards hidden in the Kuiper Belt, disguised as mining operations. Hundreds of warships were nearly complete. We copied their technology, Minji continued. Then we improved it. Every trade deal, every cultural exchange, we were learning, studying weaknesses, finding paths through their defenses. June watched as the council members absorbed this information. Some knew parts of the plan, but none knew everything. That had been necessary for security. Our ships use a propulsion system unlike anything in the galaxy, Minji said proudly. Project Singularity can create controlled wormholes at will. The hegemony believes such technology is impossible. As Ambassador June demonstrated in her escape, General Sung added, a different section of the display activated, showing a man with a weathered face. Commander Tai, leader of Earth's Special Forces. My teams are ready, he reported. For years, we've trained for this scenario. Our soldiers can fight in any environment against any species in the hegemony. General Sung turned to the Security Council. The hegemony expects us to surrender or fight a conventional war we cannot win. They don't know our true strength. But we're still outnumbered, one council member objected. The hegemony has millions of ships. Numbers mean nothing if they can't communicate, June replied. Our first target will be their communication network. Without it, their fleets cannot coordinate. The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. This wasn't a desperate last stand. This was a carefully planned counterattack, decades in the making. All these years, June continued, the hegemony thought humans were simple, predictable. They analyzed our history and saw only aggression and division. They failed to see our greatest strength. Which is? Asked a council member. Deception, June answered simply. No species in the galaxy lies as skillfully as humans. We've been playing weak, making them overconfident. General Sung stood up. The attack at Proxima gives us justification under galactic law. We will activate our forces immediately. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities came to life. In the darkness of the Kuiper Belt, massive hangar doors opened. Ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen moved into formation. On distant moons and asteroids, weapon platforms powered up. Commander Tay addressed his special forces teams. 4 years you've trained for this day. You know your targets, you know the enemy. Remember your orders. Disable, don't destroy. We want to win quickly with minimal casualties. In orbit, Dr. Minji's team activated the singularity drive on the first wave of ships. Reality tore open before them, creating pathways across the galaxy. And at the center of it all, Ambassador June prepared to address the galaxy one last time before the attack began. She would offer the hegemony one final chance to back down. She knew they wouldn't take it. The hegemony thinks they know humanity, she told her staff as they prepared the broadcast. They think we're primitive because we've let them think that. Today they learn how wrong they were. The countdown to humanity's retaliation had begun. The silence before an attack was always the hardest part. Captain Hyun knew this from years of training. Now aboard the command ship Resilient, he felt that familiar tension as his fleet waited at the edge of hegemony space. 500 ships, all hidden from enemy sensors, all waiting for the signal. Status report, Hyun said quietly. His second-in-command, Officer Mina, checked her display. All ships report ready. Singularity drives charged. Weapons hot. Special Forces teams on standby. Hyun nodded. On his screen, he could see the hegemony's massive communication relay station. It looked like a metal spider, with long arms stretching out in all directions. Each arm ended in a powerful transmitter. Together they formed the backbone of the hegemony's faster-than-light communication network. Without it, their vast fleets would be isolated, confused, vulnerable. Message from Earth Command, Mina announced. Ambassador June's final warning was ignored. We are authorized to proceed. Hyun took a deep breath. Send the order. Operation Shadow begins now. Throughout the hidden fleet, singularity drives activated. Space itself tore open as hundreds of wormholes appeared. The human ships slipped through, emerging at precisely calculated points around the relay station. Before the station's defenders could react, the first wave of human vessels was already attacking. But they weren't firing weapons. Instead, they deployed specialized devices that attached to the relay's arms. First wave reports success, Mina said. Disruptors attached. Station defenses activating. The relay station's weapons came to life, firing at the human ships. But the attackers were already gone, jumping through new wormholes to their next targets. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Day led a smaller team directly toward the station itself. Their ship was different, smaller, nearly invisible to sensors. As the station's defenders focused on the larger attack, Day's team slipped through their defenses. Approaching Docking Bay 7, Day reported. No signs they've detected us. His team of 12 wore special armor designed for this mission. Each member carried weapons that would disable rather than kill. Their goal wasn't to destroy the station, but to control it. Remember, Day told his team as they prepared to board. Quick and quiet, follow the plan. They entered the station through a maintenance airlock. Inside, aliens of various species rushed to battle stations. None noticed the human team moving through service corridors. Control room is ahead, Day whispered. Security count? 8 guards, replied his tech specialist. Standard hegemony security protocols. Day nodded. Deploy countermeasures. A small device slid across the floor toward the control room. It activated with a soft hum. Inside the room, the alien guards suddenly clutched their heads as the device interfered with their neural implants. Day's team moved in quickly. Stun weapons fired in precise bursts. Within 30 seconds, all guards were unconscious. Control. Room secure, Day reported. Beginning system override. Across the galaxy, similar operations were happening simultaneously. At 27 key communication nodes, human special forces took control. Engineer teams connected devices to the hegemony's network. On the command ship, Captain Hyun watched the reports come in. Sir? Mina said with amazement. All teams report. Success. Minimal resistance encountered. Hyun allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. At his command, the devices attached to the communication network activated. They didn't destroy the system. Instead, they took control of it. In the Grand Hall of the Hegemony Council on their homeworld, the alien leaders were in chaos. Reports of attacks came from across their territory, but details were confusing and contradictory. How did they bypass our defenses? Demanded the council leader. Humans don't have that technology. The main screen in the hall suddenly activated. Ambassador June's face appeared on every display throughout hegemony space. Her expression was calm, but determined. Attention Hegemony Council and citizens, she began. 3 days ago, your forces attacked a diplomatic mission in violation of galactic law. Today, we respond. The council leader tried to cut the transmission, but nothing happened. You believed humans were weak, June continued. You thought our technology was primitive. That was your mistake. Screens throughout the hall showed images of human ships appearing through impossible wormholes, special forces teams taking control of key facilities without firing a shot. We now control your communication network, June explained. Your fleets cannot coordinate. Your defenses are isolated. We could destroy them if we wished. The council members looked at each other in shock and fear. But unlike you, June said, we do not seek war. We seek equality. We will return control of your systems when you agree to recognize humanity as equals, not subjects. The transmission ended. In its place, a countdown appeared. 24 hours to respond. In the silent council chamber, the leader turned to his advisors. How? How did they hide such technology? No one had an answer. For decades, they had watched humans struggle with basic space travel. They had intercepted and studied human ships. All evidence showed a young, technologically limited species. It had all been a lie. The Hegemony Council chamber was in chaos. Advisors rushed in and out, bringing reports from across their territory. The massive view screen showed images of human ships appearing through impossible wormholes near key installations. The council leader pounded his fist on the table. How? Did they hide this technology? He demanded. All our intelligence said they were decades behind us. Intelligence Director Jin watched this scene from a hidden observation room aboard the station. His team had infiltrated the Hegemony's central government complex hours ago. Unlike the other human forces, they didn't wear military uniforms. They blended in perfectly with the station's maintenance staff. They still don't understand, Jin said to his second-in-command. Record everything. This is history happening. On the main screen, a Hegemony admiral was explaining their military situation. We've lost contact with 60% of our fleet. The humans have somehow taken control of our communication network. Impossible, shouted one council member. Their technology is primitive. We've studied their ships for decades. You studied what we wanted you to study, Jin whispered, though no one in the chamber could hear him. The council leader turned to his chief scientist. Explain this. How did they develop wormhole technology without our knowledge? The scientist, a tall, thin alien with translucent skin, looked nervous. We may have miscalculated. Humans evolved differently than other species. Their technological development doesn't follow normal patterns. What does that mean? The leader demanded. Most species develop technology in predictable ways, the scientist explained. Humans don't. They make unexpected leaps. While we focused on their slow progress in conventional drive systems, they apparently developed something entirely different. Jin smiled. The hegemony was beginning to understand, but they still didn't have the full picture. In the chamber, a new message appeared on the main screen. "Incoming transmission from Earth," announced the communications officer. Ambassador June's face appeared. She sat at a simple desk, her expression calm and confident. "Greetings, Council Leader. I hope you've had time to consider your position." The leader glared at the screen. "Your attack is an act of war. The full might of the hegemony will crush your worlds." June's expression didn't change. "Your fleets are scattered and isolated. They cannot coordinate without the communication network we now control. But we haven't attacked your worlds, we haven't destroyed your ships, we simply demonstrated our capabilities." "By stealing our technology," the leader shouted. "No," June replied, "by improving it." The screen split to show a human scientist. Dr. Minji adjusted her glasses before speaking. "For 50 years we've studied your technology. Not to copy it, but to understand its limitations. Our singularity drive doesn't work like your jump drives. It creates temporary wormholes by manipulating space-time directly. Your scientists believed this was impossible because your species evolved to think about space travel in specific ways." Jin watched as the council members exchanged troubled glances. The humans weren't just revealing their technology, they were explaining their entire strategy. "You wondered how we hid these capabilities," June continued. "The answer is simple. We showed you what you expected to see. Your intelligence agencies saw primitive ships because that's what we wanted them to see." The screen changed to show human ships transforming, outer hulls falling away to reveal advanced technology beneath. "While you dismissed us as barely spacefaring primitives, we were studying your weaknesses. Your overconfidence made you vulnerable." The council leader's expression shifted from anger to disbelief. "Why reveal this now? Why not just destroy us? If you're so advanced." "Because unlike you," June said, "we genuinely desire peace. We orchestrated this demonstration to show that humans must be treated as equals, not subjects. We allowed your ambush at Proxima Station to happen because we needed justification under galactic law for our response." Jin smiled at the shocked expressions of the council members. For decades, they had underestimated humanity. They had studied human history and seen only a violent, divided species. They never understood that humans' greatest strength was their ability to deceive, to appear weak when they were strong. "You have 12 hours to agree to our terms," June concluded. "Equal status in the galactic community, recognition of our territorial rights, a new peace treaty based on mutual respect." The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Jin's communications device vibrated. A message from Earth Command. "Phase 4 complete. Return to extraction point." Jin and his team slipped away, unnoticed. Their mission was done. The hegemony now understood that humanity had never been the weak, primitive species they thought. They had been playing a much longer game. The grand hall of the Galactic Embassy gleamed with light. Hundreds of representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the historic signing. In the center stood a circular table made of rare woods from 20 worlds. Ambassador June approached it slowly, aware that every eye in the room followed. Her 1 month had passed since humanity revealed its true power. 1 month of careful negotiations. 1 month that changed everything. "The Treaty of New Beginnings is ready for signing," announced the ceremony master. "As agreed, the first signatures will be from Earth and the hegemony." June stepped forward, taking her place opposite the hegemony council leader. The massive alien looked smaller somehow, his once proud posture now careful and measured. Behind him stood representatives from species that had once laughed at humanity's primitive technology. No one was laughing now. "Before we sign," June said, her voice carrying through the hall, "I wish to address our new partners." The room fell silent. After humanity's demonstration of power, everyone listened when humans spoke. 1 month ago, we showed the galaxy what humans are capable of, not to threaten, not to conquer, but to earn respect. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes, or eye-like organs, of dozens of alien species. This treaty represents a new beginning. Humanity joins the galactic community not as subjects or protectorates, but as equals. All species here today will do the same. The smaller species in the room shifted nervously. For centuries, the hegemony had dominated galactic politics. Powerful species ruled while others served. The new treaty changed everything. Equality is not just a human concept, June continued. It benefits us all. Different perspectives make us stronger. Different approaches solve problems faster. She turned to the hegemony leader. We could have used our advantage to dominate, as others have done. Instead, we choose partnership. The leader nodded slowly. We misjudged humans. A mistake we will not repeat. They both pressed their hands to the treaty. It glowed briefly, recording their biometric signatures. Around the room, representatives applauded, some enthusiastically, others reluctantly. Hours later, when the ceremony was complete, June stood in a private meeting room with the hegemony leader. This conversation would not be recorded in any official transcript. Your deception was impressive, the leader admitted. For decades, we monitored your development. We never suspected. June smiled slightly. That was the point. Your species evolved as apex predators on your world. You understand strength. You respect power. But you never understood humanity's real advantage. Which is? Adaptability. Creativity. We studied how each alien species thinks, how they approach problems. Then we found the gaps, the ideas no one else considered. The leader shifted uncomfortably. Military intelligence reports your ships could have destroyed our entire fleet. They could have, June agreed. But that was never our goal. Humans don't want an empire. We want a voice. We want fair treatment. Now we have both. And if another species challenges you? June's expression hardened. Then we will remind them of what humans are capable of when threatened. We prefer peace, but we prepare for war. Across the galaxy, changes were already happening. Species that had been dominated by the hegemony now spoke openly about independence. Trade routes were being renegotiated. Military alliances were shifting. Back on Earth, General Sung watched the ceremony from the command center. Beside him, Dr. Minji studied the data from their demonstration. The singularity drive performed beyond expectations, she reported. And our other technologies remain hidden. We showed them only what we needed to. Sung nodded. Good. Humanity needs advantages. For the future. Intelligence Director Jin entered the room. The hegemony is already studying our tactics. They're calling it the human deception. It's becoming required teaching in their military academies. Let them study, Sung replied. By the time they understand our current strategy, we'll have developed 10 new ones. On the main viewer, they could see Ambassador June concluding the private meeting with the hegemony leader. The alien towered over her, but his body language showed clear respect. Humans are strange, the leader said as they prepared to leave. Your history shows constant conflict among yourselves, yet you stand united against outside threats. We fight each other because we can afford to, June explained. We fight together when we must, remember that. As the new galactic order took shape, humans took their place among the stars not as newcomers to be pitied or resources to be exploited, but as equals to be respected, and perhaps just a little to be feared. No species would make the mistake of underestimating humanity again.